out the tweet. Gotta do all the fun stuff. And we should be good. So, hello everyone, this is Chris Ingerson, and it is December 19th, and this is the December 19th Text Quest Devstream. So, today we are going to be continuing our work on the wizard cutscene in the canyon. Specifically, I think we're going to be focusing a lot on keyframe animation for the wizard himself. I've come to a point where I've basically positioned all the broad stroke positionings, like I don't want to say keyframes because that's not exactly right, but basically the broad strokes of the wizard showing up are done. And we're going to kind of move on to specifics today, although it's going to get a little... So we're going to be mixing audio, effects, some scripting. It's kind of going to be all over the place today, which means I probably should do that, I guess. I really need to make a new build of this because I've added the support for multiple things instead of just having like overlapping things like that. In any case, so we're going to be doing a pretty art-heavy thing today, and that's going to be a lot of timeline stuff. So, to give you a sense of where we are currently, I have changed how the player gets captured. I don't like taking control away from the player, so I'm basically doing the same thing, but instead of taking control away, I'm just putting the player into a tiny box, and then moving that box. That also gives me some nice opportunity to have some fun with the actual box that the player gets trapped in. So you can see that it fades in from nothing, and then it moves us towards our eventual position. Although I don't know what that jittering is for. A little bit of an audio distance there at the end. So, actually, you know what? One more time, I'm not going to talk over the front end of this. I should have let you guys see it in one clean go without me narrating things that aren't necessarily related to what's going on. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right in. All right. So what happened there was basically, I wonder if I can. Okay, good. I don't activate it. Basically, what happens? I guess we'll start over, and I'll kind of talk over it this time. So when you first get captured, a magic box fades in from nothing, and it's going to fade in a, I don't want to say cartoony way, but basically it's going to fade in to be super bright and then fade back to its default brightness. So you'll see it go from transparent to pure white, then back to pink and sort of purplish. Then, of course, it moves to position. I'm not entirely sure what that sort of awkward bouncing is that the player experiences. Here we have the wizard looking for his beard, although I need to exaggerate that more to make it more apparent that he's actually looking around. And then the sound dissonance is just because I haven't actually moved the point where the audio for that particular scene or moment plays. But that's easy to do. I just haven't done it yet. So let's go ahead and go down to cutscenes. Wizard appears. Let's go to our timeline. So this is our current timeline. I spent all of last night basically working on super fancy, well, unnecessarily fancy material editor stuff. So I have, like, even though this means nothing, I basically have a drop-down field that will let you select from a renderer, or select a specific material index from a renderer. And I spent most of the time figuring out how to get exposed references in an editor script, because that was something I'd never done before, and it actually turns out it's pretty easy. To show you what I'm doing, go ahead and reload that. Yep. Okay, there we go. Actually, no, I guess I should. Yeah, it's on the clip. I can do that there. So I have this renderer material ID, which is basically an attribute that will create a drop-down given a target renderer, and then it will affect an int value. If we go look at, let's see, find all references because we want the material or the. Really? That's interesting. Why doesn't it show me the editor for it? What is going on here? I'm gonna go ahead and close this. I feel like it's not opening the way it should. I don't know what's going on there. But it's actually a pretty nice, it was a pretty nice little programming exercise for me to figure out how to do editor scripting with timeline. So if we go ahead and go over here, let's go to find all references. What is going on here? Okay, there we go. I guess that's because I was looking at the constructor. That's fair. All right, so what we do is when we first start looking at a particular renderer, we want to be able to grab its materials. And the reason that I wrote a material or a attribute for this is because I didn't want to have to manually enter these int IDs in the situation where maybe a material gets removed or deleted by accident. I wanted to make sure that I was always going to have a valid material, or at the very least that I would be notified if I didn't have a valid material. So to show you an example of how the dropdown actually works, currently this magic box only has one material, but if I actually go over here and let's just add 3 materials, and we'll make one of the materials, the marble table. We'll make the second one nothing, so it has support for no materials. So we have 3 materials, magic box, nothing, and then a marble table. If we go back here to our actual, of course it's going to look wrong, but if we go back here, our dropdown now has 0 - magic box, so that lets us know that the 0 index material is called magic box. We have 1 - null, which means that there is nothing in the second slot at the index of 1, and then the marble table, which is the name of the third material, at index 2. So basically this just lets me select from these in a much more predictable manner than if I just had to manually enter an integer. So I spent, I don't know, probably about 20 minutes figuring out how to do that last night, maybe 30. And all of it was just so that I could have a nice little drop down. But of course, let's go ahead and get rid of these because I don't need 3 materials and that just causes overhead. So, but that's all that's doing, and how that actually how that is actually done is we specify a renderer field by passing in a string to that attribute. We use that string to get a serialized objects field or its property. Which you can see here, we're finding property attribute.target field. Then we use that to basically determine, okay, is the field that we're targeting of type exposed reference? Because serialized properties have serialized property types, and you can tell if it's an exposed reference or not. And if it's an exposed reference, we want to be able to just say render prop.exposed reference value, which is basically the same thing as saying .object reference value. So it's actually not nearly as hard as I thought it was going to be to get custom editor stuff working with timeline scripts. I was a little worried that I wouldn't really be able to resolve those things, since a lot of since in order to actually get references from exposed references, you have to know where the graph is. And originally I was going to do this like insanely complex thing where I had to figure out what timeline was being edited live, then figure out what clip was being edited, or what track asset was being edited live, or and then it was just like a whole rabbit hole. So I'm very happy that I did not have to do that. But I do have to, of course, have this check here to see if the field that we're targeting is of type exposed reference. Because if you try to get an object reference value from an exposed reference field, you'll get an error. You'll get a C++ error, actually. And presumably, it'll go the other way, too. I didn't actually try it in reverse, but if you try to get an exposed reference value from a non-exposed reference field, my assumption would be that you would also get a pointer error. So it was kind of fun trying to figure all that stuff out. But doing so allowed me to do fancy stuff like editor or material cross-fading, material property fading. I was going to go one extra step and try to generate a property field or a property dropdown, so I could just target a material with a index and then so this would be my index and then an actual renderer. But I felt that would be a little too specific. Although not entirely a terrible thing to do, it just means that I would have to have 2 other fields to make that one field work, and I don't particularly want to do that. In any case, so we're gonna want to polish up this. We're gonna want to polish up this cutscene, and I think we can get through it tonight. And then we can actually move on to the cutting animations that we're gonna have to do. I've been thinking about how to do that too. Also, for some weird reason, and I'm not entirely sure why this is the case, but oops. Right now we'll go ahead and turn you on. So for some reason, the colors of this material are wrong. So if we actually look at this material, the magic box material, let's see, where are you? You can see that it's basically just alternating pink and kind of grayish purple magic rose. And that's what it looks like on the sides. It's a little hard to see. Actually, I guess I can go ahead and crank the alpha so it's easier to see here. So you can see that on the sides of the box, it's like that. But then on the front and back, for some reason, I have no idea why it's like this, but for some reason, it is all solid one color. And then on the tops and bottoms, the colors are blown out. I have no idea why. It's always the gray color that gets affected, and it seems like it gets swapped around between things. And again, no idea why. It is very strange to me. And then, yeah, if I turn off emission, it does that. So I have no idea what's going on there. It is all kinds of weird. It's not a huge issue right now since we're still building the cutscene, but I mean, eventually this is going to be a problem. I can't have materials that don't actually follow the correct color. And my assumption for this is that it's a substance bug, which means that Unity won't fix it, which means I have to wait until Unity 2018.1 when Algorithmic actually gets to do their plugin stuff. So, in any case, let's go ahead and turn you off. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and grab, let's see, audio. Actually, no, this is going to be, okay, let's go ahead and add a track group. I'm going to move the stuff dealing with the magic box into this group. So, magic box. We'll go ahead and move this up, I guess, below wizard. I think I'm muting you right now, aren't I? Or am I not doing anything? I'm just not doing anything with you. That's fair. So I want to pretty much do all of this. Move it down here to magic box. Okay. So, that's why. Okay. There we go. That was the problem. That's why we were getting that little jumble at the end there. And also, let me go ahead and do this real quick. Emission. Or is it emissive color? Oop. Emission color. I'll go ahead and do that. Color. Okay, and this is going to be just color. All right. So the current layout, I've created a couple of new scripts to help make this scene function. We have a position magic box, which is just a generic position to player clip. So it takes a target transform, in this case the magic box, and then it will move it over to wherever the player is. I actually probably should give it an offset now that I think about it, but that's fine. And it has the option to parent to the player. So once it positions itself to the player, it will then parent itself to the player. After that, we have a move transform, which is basically what we were doing with the player before, where we were moving the player from one position to another, except now it's a little bit more generic. It lets us target multiple things. It lets us use local space for some minor optimizations there. And then, of course, we have a curve that we can move along. Parent player pretty much does the same thing as the position to player clip, but in reverse. So you give it a transform to parent the player to. And then, of course, we can specify whether or not the player's position in the world stays where it was. For the most part, that's going to be checked all the time. So what we want to do, we're going to start off by adding some audio. In particular, I want to, hold on. Oh, right, turn you off. Go ahead and crank this back down to 50. I want to add audio to the point where the magic box fades in at its most white. So that's going to be at the 30-second mark, half a second in. Actually, no, it's going to be at 32, isn't it? Because I start that 2 frames late to make sure that it's enabled. So we're going to do it here because I want to do kind of like a effect, which probably means we're actually going to end up starting it a little bit before that. So let's go ahead and go down to track subgroup. We're going to call this audio. We're going to do a play sound track. We'll do a play sound clip. However, we are going to need to do a couple of things. One, we're going to have to load this splash fade scene so that we can get our client, or not our client, that's what it's called at work, our global object. I really should call it client though, because global is actually not a great name. Actually, I should call it game manager, since I have a base class for that now. I just haven't ported things over to that. I've been kind of trying to optimize things on the back end whenever I get the opportunity. Since that's not super great to do on stream, I try to do that off stream. In any case, let's go ahead and go back here to Wizard Appears. Alright, I don't think we have a good... Yeah, we don't. Okay. So I'm going to actually go up and we're going to listen to some sounds real quick. So let's see. Sleepy Owl Soft. We want to go to Standard Assets. Asset Store. Universal Sound Effects. I think we have some magic. So let's see if we can get like a... Not that. That's not bad. No. None of the sci-fi stuff. Almost. It's a little... Ooh. Also almost. Ooh. Nope. I don't understand why there's like things like thrust. That's so weird. Like these sound more like sci-fi. That's not bad actually. All right, well, we'll go ahead and actually do that one. So we need you. And I'm actually going to go ahead and say add tab, inspector. We're just going to kind of drag this off a little bit. I'm going to lock that so that I can easily access it. Let's see, so we wanted this. Yeah, that's good. Go ahead and drag this over here. Alright, so this is our current one. That sounds pretty good. Yeah. I actually like that one a lot, even though it's electric. Ooh, that is also really good. Okay. I think we have some good candidates here. With that, actually, I think I'm going to get rid of you. You are way worse than the other two. It's not bad. I'll put it in there. Oops. Shite. I'll put it in there, but I don't know. Call this fade in 1. Fade in 2. Oh, hold on. There we go. Let's see. That's something else. Go ahead and minimize that for now. Call this one fade in 3. All right. Let's see. Nah, fire stuff doesn't exactly. Alright, I think we have a good enough choice here. Or selection. That's pretty good. I do kind of like that one a lot. I think we're going to try fade in 2. let's do fade in 2. All right. We're going to parent it to the magic box. We will parent the sound. And all right. Let's go ahead and see what this looks like. Let's go ahead and, before I forget, we got to unload this scene. Otherwise things get weird. All right, so now we should have some audio to go with the fade in for the magic box. If we ever get to play, that is. What? What happened there? Ah! I know what it was. Okay, that was me being silly. It needs a frame delay. Right. Let's go to Magic Box, Audio. So this can't start on the first frame because for the first frame, try frame 1. See if we can get lucky there. For the first frame, the actual magic box is disabled, which means that when the sound comes in and gets parented to the magic box, it is going to immediately be deactivated, and therefore the coroutine can't function. That's necessary for it. That's pretty good. Oh, you know what? That actually makes more sense, doesn't it? So one of the shortcomings of the cutscene right now is the wizard, when he's looking for his beard, he looks, off to the right, then he looks off to the left, and then he comes back to the center and faces you before looking up. But when he does that, you can't really tell very easily that his W, which is his head, is tilting upwards to look. It kind of just looks more like it's kind of skewing a little bit. So I think I need to actually have him look up while he's looking to the left. So he would basically look right, then look left, and then while he's looking left, he would look up so that you can see him from an angle, and you can see the W angling a little bit easier. All right, so let's go ahead and come back here to the timeline. I'm going to go ahead and... Oh, actually, you know what? Before I forget, let's see. Wizard appears. Player positioning, magic box. Okay. I'm going to add a basic ground to this. We're going to make it, I guess, rock for now. I kind of feel like it really should have energy sound to it, but I don't have that type yet. And this is the only place I can think of that it would actually be useful. So we'll hold off for now, but I just don't want it to be dirt. All right, let's go ahead, go back to Wizard Appears. That's it for the magic box then, which means we're going to come over here to Audio, Wizard Reassembly. We're going to have to do some stuff with that. Let's see, and do I need Wizard Assembly? No, it would be Wizard Fall, wouldn't it? Yep, there it is. Let's see, I think we actually want this to be at 1020. All right, so we're going to try to drag this stuff out to about there. And then spread out, and we reform. Nice, okay. So that's that. That should fix the offset for the audio. Then, oops, that's that. Hold on. Then we're going to need to change how our body animates. In particular, oh, this is also going to get all kinds of weird. Okay. So the way this works currently, you can see we rotate, and then we rotate back. But what if we didn't rotate back just yet? Instead, we waited until oh no, we can't do it. Well, we can do it there. Okay. Um, so here, and this is what I'm talking about. You can see when we're all the way into our position, you can see that the W is kind of facing backwards. Like we basically have it swinging as we transition back. So by the end, it is tilted by about 30 degrees to face up, which is pretty significant. But it's because it's flat and you're facing it head on, and it's a W. It doesn't really look like it's doing much. So if we didn't have the main body rotate, instead we had it still rotated to face to the right slightly, that rotation should be a little bit more apparent. But we are still going to need to eventually set these guys to be, I'm going to say 990. That is not correct, actually. We're going to go ahead and edit these keys and set them to, let's see, so that'd be 1020. We'll do 1025. I'm going to go back here to 960. Let's start recording our body. All right, we're going to keep you at -30, so that way it doesn't rotate backwards. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and stop. I'm going to highlight these guys. We're going to edit keys. We're going to set these guys at 1020. So they're just going to stay over there. So we look up, and then the beard crashes, and as the wizard is scattering, we're going to really rapidly rotate it so that it's facing the correct way when he reforms. All right. So that's that. Let's go ahead and save and see what this looks like. Turn off preview. Oh, and you know what, actually? Let's go ahead and turn off the magic box. And I think we're also going to go ahead and have an activation track for the wizard. So let's go ahead and... Do I want to do... Actually, you know what? No, let's go ahead and... we'll just make it the wizard soul shards, I guess. Let's go ahead and bounce you in there. We'll stop muting you. And we'll have you be off by default. Oh, I probably should have it last longer than like 5 seconds. There we go. All right. Let's see. It is 20 seconds long. Kind of. Okay, let's make that an even 20, I guess. Don't know why it didn't quite go all the way to the end, but sure, why not? All right, let's go ahead and save. And now, the wizard pieces will no longer be there until we actually activate them. All right. All right. Nope. I do like that. That turns out so well. Oh, I guess we need to also shift all of these guys back by a little bit. What? Heck? That was interesting. So that audio turned out correct, but then the rest of them got borked. I don't... Huh. Okay. Well, let's take a look at that. Letter vibration. Huh. What the heck happened? Okay then. I don't know what happened there. I don't know why they got offset like that. Let's see. Um, 600. Oops, hold on. Oh, come on. there we go. Okay, so now it's letter vibration. Let's look for wizard assembly. Huh, I don't know what happened there. I don't know why they suddenly got so weird. Let's see here. So letter vibration. Which means we're going to want to go to 600. Let's go ahead and drag these guys off to about. Wow, we have all sorts of problems with this. Alright, let's do it. Crap. There we go. I hate it when it's so small that you accidentally do stuff like that. And you're going to make it difficult for me, aren't you? Yep. Alright, 600. 630, because you apparently you don't want to play nice. So let's see. You can probably do stuff like this now. There we go. Now what about you? Nope, I got these backwards. There. There. And there. Alright, so we have... Okay. Let's go ahead and start previewing. Take a look at that again. Make sure that they're correctly lined up. I don't really know why it's... I don't really know how they got offset, considering that it worked the first time and I didn't do anything to change that. Wow, that is just not correct at all. Alright, let's go back here. So, I think that means that I actually want to do nothing, because it's going to get incredibly tedious. Come on, right there. Okay. Okay. There. So now they should be playing a little bit nicer with each other. Let's see. Yeah, the audio portion of this and syncing everything up is kind of a tough process for me, since I'm not naturally an audio person. Okay, so we should be able to judge. Yep, I like that. That is much better. Nice. That actually works pretty well. So that's more or less what I want to do with this for the wizard showing up. So we have him, coming down to pieces. We get dust and clouds flying everywhere. We get his shattering and then reforming real quick, and then after that, he's going to kind of just walk towards us and push us all the way back to here. And then we're going to get to see him like it's a treat. Of course it is. We're going to see him summon some scissors, because of course he will. And then they will cut the top ropes and then swing around and cut the bottom ropes. That'll cause this bridge to fall. Then he will do the same while we are still trapped in the box over here. He will swing the scissors around and then cut these guys so that we have no way of escaping. And then he will laugh and disappear, like he always does. All right. So let's go ahead and go over here to timeline. So we don't need this set player control. Oh, we do need this magic box, though, to go to its correct spot. Let's go ahead and subtract this. I was actually going to change the movements of the or the initial falling of the wizard's letters to not start until you had been positioned in the magic, or so the magic box had been positioned. But I kind of like that he starts falling as you're moving into position. It kind of saves some time, and it also just makes it a little less. It shortens the length, which is always a plus for cutscenes. I guess I shouldn't say that because I'm not trying to make boring cutscenes, or it's not like I think boring or cutscenes are boring. Well, not all cutscenes anyway. But typically, I want to try to keep these cutscenes to as short as possible. So I think right about now we're at 20 seconds. At 60 frames a second, 600 frames would be 10 seconds. So yeah, we're at about 20 seconds for this for the wizard showing up, you getting trapped, him forming, doing all that stuff. And then we're probably looking at another 20-ish frame, well, 20-ish frames, 20-ish seconds for the bridge collapse. So we're looking at in total 40 seconds, maybe 50, depending on how. It might be 50 to 60 seconds. So about a minute for this to unfold. But it should play out fairly well. I don't think it'll be boring to watch or anything like that. All right. So let's see. The next thing we want to do is, oh yeah, we want to move this. I guess I should probably actually move this up to here. So parent player, parents the player to that. Let's go ahead and minimize you. Yeah, that should work. We are, of course, going to have to trade, or not trade, not the entire duration. Why you are not in even 20 seconds, I do not know. Okay. So that's our first cutscene, basically. That gets everything from the wizard showing up to the wizard being, or vanishing. What the heck? Guys, oh, that's because I was gonna say, why aren't you going the full length of the cutscenes? Like, oh wait, the blue line's the cutoff, right? Duh. All right, we're gonna change this so that post-playback state for this is actually gonna be inactive, because after the wizard's completely reformed, the wizard prefab is gonna take over because it's gonna have its breathing animations and all that. So we're gonna work with that. All right, let's go ahead and let's see, collapse you. We're going to swap over to the Canyon Bridge Master. This has the cutscene. This is going to be the cutscene that plays all the other cutscenes, basically. Because I guess I've kind of decided that's the cleanest way for me to break up my cutscenes, because I really don't like having large cutscenes. And when I say large, I mean really complex cutscenes. Instead, I would prefer to kind of isolate specific things to specific timelines and then play them all from one big timeline. I feel like that gives me the most control. All right, so let's go ahead and say wizard appears. All right, we're gonna have another. Let's see. CBL common play cutscene track. We're gonna call this. I wonder. So I guess I could have three. I guess I could break this into 4 cutscenes. The wizard appears cutscene, which is the wizard falling from the sky, forming himself. The player position cutscene, which is where the wizard kind of just like shoves you back and you just get pushed back to the center, or to the stack. Then we would have the bridge collapse cutscene, and then we would finally end with the wizard vanishes cutscene. I think I'm going to break it up like that just because that lets us kind of break everything down into distinct cutscenes and distinct motions. So we're going to say player positioned. We'll go ahead and add some more play cutscene tracks. There's going to be bridge collapses. Bridge collapse. I guess we'll go ahead and just duplicate this, and this is going to be wizard vanishes. All right. So I'm not always going to have the cutscenes go in such a linear fashion. Sometimes they don't start. Sometimes some subsequent cutscenes don't necessarily start as soon as the previous one ends. Sometimes they start a little bit before that or a little bit after that. It just so happens in this case I'm going to try to structure it in a way that's clean like that, but that's not always how it's going to go. All right, so that's the wizard appears cutscene. Then we're going to need a, let's see, player positioned. We're going to add a playable director. Playable director. We're going to move the wizard down to be below it, because I'm going to try to group all of my cutscene stuff below their particular playable director. Let's go ahead and for a second, I'm going to collapse some of this stuff. There it is. So we're going to need to create timeline. We're going to call this Canyon player positioning. All right, or positioned, I guess. Positioned. Cool. Let's go ahead and assign that reference. We're not going to do play on awake. None of these should be set to that. All right. And with that, I guess we'll go ahead and also do a... I have the bridge collapse one, right? Oh, but I don't have the wizard vanishes. Okay. I am also going to try to do them in order. So player position, then collapse, then I'll also call this bridge collapse. Bridge collapse, and then wizard vanishes. Vanishes. Let's go ahead. Oh, I can't do that yet. Playables, playable director, Canyon, wizard vanishes. Check that. All right. So next we are going to want to go ahead and start working on this. So we're going to have a track group for the... now that I think about it, it's not really going to be... Well, we'll have the player. Oh, and actually, you know what? We are going to need to go down to Wizard Appears. Let's go to Magic Box, select this. It's going to be active when it's done. So it's going to be left active, unlike the Wizard, which should be set to be inactive. Okay, good. So that way I can come in into the player position, and it will already be active. I won't have to set the Magic Box active again. So let's go ahead and swap back to player positioned. We're going to add... Yeah, I think I have to reparent the player, don't I, actually? Let's go to Wizard Appears real quick. Parent player clip. Yeah, I guess we... Well, I'm going to go ahead and open this up. And I think I'm going to add some behavior that lets us determine if the player will be unparented from the, well, or deparented, unparented, whatever. Whether the player's parent transform should be reset to null or not on end. I could definitely use it here. Otherwise, I'm going to have to constantly keep parenting the player, and I would prefer not to do that. So, yeah, all right. Let's go ahead and say public bool. Is it unparent or deparent? Deparent on end is equal to false. All right. Let's go ahead and go over here to parent player behavior. Go to definition. Seriously, stop. Why do you switch over to Japanese randomly? Public bool. Crap, what was it? Deparent. Yeah, deparent on end. False. All right. And deparent on end. Okay, there we go. Let's see. Before I do anything else, we're going to need to say behavior.deparent on end is equal to deparent on end. Let's go ahead and tooltip these things. So we're going to say, oh, and you know what? I need to start doing this more. Private. So I've tried to start switching over to using serialized private fields instead of just public fields everywhere, since it's better practice to do so. So I've been trying to do that. It's not quite muscle memory for me yet, so I typically go to public right away. But it makes more sense. It's a cleaner way to code, which is why I've tried to switch over to it, because it lets you show things in the inspector and drive some values that way without exposing those values to scripts. And they're great for things like playable assets, which aren't going to be referenced externally by scripts. They're only going to be used as data for other things. And they're also great for references, like, say, a button reference that you might have somewhere. That's probably not going to be set by another script, in which case it doesn't really make sense to have it be public. It makes more sense for it to be private, so that other scripts don't even have the opportunity to try and mess with that, because they really shouldn't. So let's go ahead and say set the player's parent transform to null at the end of the clip. All right, and we're going to go ahead, go up here, set this to private again. We will serialize the field. We'll go ahead and do a tooltip. And we're going to say keep the player's world position when parenting it to a transform. Well, to the target, I guess. All right, and sadly I can't do tooltips on exposed references because they don't work. Although I probably should keep this as private. Serialized field. All right, so now if we go back, we should let it recompile. Everything should stay the same, except now we're going to have an extra bool toggle. And that means that our code is a little bit cleaner, which is nice. Well, one day this will finish. There we go. So we don't want to deparent on end. We're actually going to keep that false. And actually, I think I'm going to make that true by default, even though I don't actually want it to be true in this particular case, but I think it's actually better to have it be true on default. So there's our parent player. We will not deparent them at the end of there. And that should be good enough of a change for this. All we're really going to do is we're just going to set the player's transform or parent transform to be null when we're done with it, when we're done with the magic box. But until then, it makes more sense for it to just be kept in the magic box. Okay, so let's swap over to player positioned. So we don't actually need to do anything with the player in this, so I can actually change this to magic box. We're going to add a playable track. We'll go ahead and say add clip. And I think we're going to want, let's see here, move transform clip. All right, so we are going to move the, where are you? This is, yeah, this is fair. We're going to move the target magic box over to, let's go ahead and say positioning. All right, we're going to have an empty transform here. We'll call this stack target, I guess. Not a great name, but we'll keep it. All right, let's go ahead and move this up and over inside here. Okay, well that was almost successful. Up here, somewhere around here, I think. Let's see, where are you actually? So 31. Okay, so we're going to put you up at 31. And do I have progrids on? Not quite. So we're going to do -9 and 11. So -9. Ooh, that was weird. I couldn't scroll. And we'll do -15. Yep, I think that's good. So it's basically same height, same X positioning. It's just going to be a straight back movement. All right, let's go ahead. Player positioned. Grab this. We're going to call this stack target. Assign that. Our curve will be an ease in, ease out. It won't be local space because I can't really do that very easily, so we're going to just have to use regular positioning, which is fine. And that's our actual move transform. Currently, it looks like it would take 5 seconds. Let's shorten that to 3. I don't think we're going to need it to be 3 seconds long, so we're going to call this move box. Let's see. With that, we'll probably get... I think we'll get the flash to happen whenever the wizard has the box move, so you'll have the magic, flash to white and then fade back down, and then flash to white and then fade back down whenever something happens. So when you start moving, it'll flash to white and fade back down, and then when you stop moving, it'll flash to white and fade back down. All right, so we're going to need some subgroups. This is going to be our audio. Go ahead and say CBL common, play soundtrack. Let's go ahead and that. We're going to need to load our splash fade scene. I'm going to also take a drink. And somehow, I'm kind of impressed that I did this, but I managed to bite my tongue with my water bottle. I've never had that happen to me before. That is weird. Huh. Sorry. That is awkward. In any case, with that awkwardness out of the way, we'll do a fade in 2 again. Let's see. We are also going to need to have some material adjustments, so we're going to go ahead and do another subtract group. Put that up here. We'll do material. Let's add an adjust render material track. We're going to call this mission color. We don't need to adjust its actual color anymore, which is actually convenient for us. This track is only going to be 0.5 seconds long. Let's see. Target renderer is going to be magic box with index of 0. We are going to target the shared material type. The property is going to be emission color. Hello, Claril. Sorry, let me try that again. Hello, Claril. How are you tonight? And welcome back. Alright, so we're going to fade between a color of just solid white and the color of solid white with HDR values times 3, basically. That will give us the actual blown out white effect that we're looking for. Then we're going to basically do the exact same thing, except it's going to end at 1 second, and it's going to... Right. We need to target our renderer, set our magic material, or our target material to be magic box. That's correct. Make it a shared material. Let's go ahead and grab emission color. Paste that in, and it's going to fade from 3 times HDR to regular white. Dead. Finals have killed me. How are you? Well, I don't miss finals. That is definitely something that I am never going to miss in my life ever again. I'm doing all right. I've had like an existential crisis for I think the past week because like no one's been watching the streams, and I'm just like, oh god, I've been doing terrible trying to get people to watch the streams. So I clearly need to do better at managing my community and trying to get you guys more involved and make you feel like, watching the stream is more fun. But aside from that existential crisis, I've been actually pretty good. Did you pass all of your finals then? Or I guess you wouldn't know yet. Well, no, actually you should know. Because instructors have like 3 days to grade that stuff and let you know if you've past everything. It's kind of annoying. I hated grading everything when I was in AI. Um, Alright, so that should adjust our material colors on the magic box. We should also get our movement happening, and oh right, we need to set up. Well, no, you're fine. We can leave the play sound fade in. That's fine. We are going to go ahead and can I duplicate? Yeah, okay. We're going to duplicate these guys. Put you right about here, which puts us in a little bit of an awkward spot. Oh, right. I also need to make sure that this gets parented to the magic box. Because I don't really want this to be as long as it is. Although I might be able to just go ahead and duplicate it. Can I? Oh, they don't blend, but I guess that's fine. We'll leave it like that. All right. Yeah, it doesn't really matter that they overlap. It's not a huge issue. Okay, so that's all of the stuff that's necessary for the magic box itself to move. I guess as a test case, let's go ahead and hook this up with our full master cutscene. Alright, so we're going to want to go ahead and do player positioned. And then we will swap. Where's our bridge logic, triggers, bridge trigger. We're going to swap this to go from wizard appears to the actual bridge collapse playable director. Alright, so let's see what this looks like in total. Wrong thing. And unload this scene. Nah, it's just busy season. Probably nothing to do with your streaming. And I guess that's true. But I still should panic because I do need to do a better job of doing community management and getting stuff like Discord servers set up and trying to get people to post and share content and do all that fun stuff. And I just have not been able to do that because of, work and all the holiday stuff. Oh, how do you still have 2 finals left to write? It's the 19th. There's like no time left before winter breaks should all be in full swing. Alright, so let's go ahead and hit play. So now we should have the cutscene for the wizard actually showing up. And once that's done, we should just immediately transition into the player positioning, which should just move us backwards. So we should be able to see everything actually happen as we would expect. All the dirt particles. Okay, now we should start moving. Kind of... Uh-oh. What happened here? Our material didn't go back to the color that it should have. Unless I did something stupid. It probably is that. But okay, so that part worked. We got shoved back. We're positioned properly. Let's go ahead. Select our material here. Gotta reset this. So I kind of feel like maybe I should convert this stuff to use the instance. I've been adjusting the shared material for expediency, but there's no real reason that I should have to do that. So let's go ahead and do offsets of 0 and 0. Go back here to the timeline. And I'm actually going to go ahead and swap my material stuff to target instances of the material instead of the actual shared one. So instance. All right. Let's go ahead and go to the player positioned. Open this up. Material. Can I actually edit both of these? I can't. That is disappointing. All right. Oh, this will actually let me know how exactly I screwed up. Oh, because it swapped between the two. That's weird. Okay. Let's go ahead and move this back. Right about there. Cool. We're going to go to instance. And this is just, this material type is just an drop down that lets me choose from affecting the instance of the material on the renderer, so the actual, material specific to that renderer. Or I can affect the shared material, which would affect all objects using that material. Typically, you want to affect instances, but the problem with that is that it does create an instance of it. So if you have multiple objects in the scene using one material, the moment you try to affect an instance material, you're going to create a duplicate of the shared material, which will cause a little bit more overhead because it is a separate material. It's no longer the same material, so you get some extra draw calls. But since this is the only thing in the scene using this material, it doesn't actually matter. And using the instance will prevent me from editing the material in the editor. It's in the actual editor. Okay, so that should be our actual positioning for the player. Now we need to... oh, actually, I almost forgot. We do need to add a track group for the wizard because we need to have him be active. And let's go ahead and add an activation track. Let's go to player positioned. Drag the wizard in here. He is going to be active when he's done. He's going to be active the entire time that this is going on. And let's go ahead, actually, and come down here. I'm going to turn on manual duration. Oh, crap. Right. Hold on. Actually, I don't have to worry about that. Aha! Change this a little bit. We're going to shrink you down. I'm going to use manual duration. Might as well shrink this down to here. Then we can move this guy down. So this cutscene is now only about 4 seconds long, which is pretty good. We don't really need to do much else with the wizard here. I guess we do want to go ahead and set an animator parameter. Let's see. I have the hiccups. It's very annoying to fight those. We want this model, right? Yep. Alright, so we're going to assign this model. We're going to go ahead and say add set parameter, set animator parameter. It's going to be a bool. Is going to be is idle. I actually don't remember what this one is. Animation. Oh, there it is. Animator. I was going to say, where's my animator stuff? So we have a... Is still? Oh, no. Okay, I get it. So we want to, I guess, do nothing. Idle should just automatically happen. Fair enough, then. Let's go ahead and go over here. We don't need you, apparently. Alright, so with that, then the second cutscene should be done. That was much easier than the first one. First one's still not done, technically. There's still some minor animation techniques that I need to use to actually make it feel a little bit more, I don't want to say cartoony, but animated. Okay. Whoa! That shouldn't have happened. I don't know what happened there. It's like it didn't get positioned to me. Well, that's somewhat disquieting. Okay. We're gonna have to keep our eyes on that. That was not great. Okay, so he looks to the left, looks to the right, looks up, reforms, then we're gonna get pushed back. Okay. Right. So I wonder. I wonder if he should start creating the scissors while he's pushing you back. I feel like that would be good, but I also kind of like him not doing anything except moving you. All right. Let's go ahead and start work on the scissors, which this is going to be a lot of work to get this to look right. It's going to be really tricky. Although we do at least know our cut points. So the points that we will be cutting are along this edge. So along the second edge from the end, and then the first edge from the end, which technically is actually cutting into the board, but the player can't see that. So those are the two positions, and they're the same on each side that we're going to cut to give us a nice cutting effect. I've already separated the mesh, so we'll swap this bridge mesh out for the separated mesh, and then we will have the simulated Karante mesh that we swap out, and then which actually will be generated from that, and then we'll have the final Karante mesh that's basically a still mesh. Okay. So first things first, let's go ahead and yeah, this is going to get super messy super fast. We'll call this bridge. So these will all go under the bridge, because of course they will. Oh, except actually you need to go into the environment, don't you? Because you never move and you're static. So, and I'm going to sneeze. Except I said I was going to sneeze, so I'm not anymore. Ah, that's the worst. The worst. All right. So let's see. Canyon bridge collision. Yeah, all right. We'll put that here because we're going to disable it and then it'll be done. No, it's the worst when you have to when you start to sneeze but then you don't because your nose is just like you should have sneezed. Now it's so weird here. I don't even know what the equivalent of that like what I don't know how to describe it. It sucks. All right. So yeah, we'll leave that there. That's going to be under the bridge. We're going to go ahead and create a sub-object here. This is going to be our scissors. Scissors. Is that what? Did I spell that wrong? Yeah, it's got two S's. Okay, I thought so. There we go. Right. This is going to be so weird, and I hope it looks as good as I thought it would. So we'll figure out if that's correct. So we're going to say Sizz and Soars. There we go. All right. So let's go ahead and say, oh, actually, you know what? No, it's fine. I'm going to go ahead and move this up from the bottom here. Too far up. I'm going to move this, put it about over here. So this is going to be is it rotated slightly? No, that was just me. Okay. I just thought it was rotated. Right? Like, I'm not crazy. Except I apparently am. Unless the ground is rotated slightly, or I'm just crazy. Never mind. All right, so let's go ahead and create. Actually, it's not going to be UI. It's going to be a 3D object. It's going to be a text mesh pro text. All right, so this is going to be using our 8-bit font, of course. It is going to use color vertex, which is going to be red because it's the wizard's magic. And we are going to have it be aligned left, aligned center, and this is going to say SCIS. All right. Okay, this is going to be so weird. I really hope it ends up as good as I have it pictured. We're going to need to shrink this down to like 8. We're going to want to change our width to something like, not even that, 4. Wow, even less than that, huh? Actually, you know what? No, that's too small. Let's double that. 16. 16 looks good. We're going to bump this up to a width of 6. It's pretty good. And a height of 1. 1.5. Not bad. Okay, so that's our label. Cool. We're going to duplicate this. I'm going to move this down here. Call this label again. I'm going to call this source. All right. Now this looks kind of weird And that's because it is. But it will work, I assure you. At least I really hope it will. So the test for this is going to be these guys. Ah, crap. I did that wrong. Hold on. Let's see. We want our pivot to be at 0, actually. There we go. That's much better. Fortunately, it looks like our letters line up pretty much the same, which is good. Okay. So let's rotate you by negative. No, sorry, positive. Really? What is going on here? 30. There we go. And you are going to be rotated by negative 30. All right. And we're going to go ahead and move this up. So the idea here is that the magic is going to basically come in, and then it's going to cut the ropes. So I want it to actually spell scissors, and then it's going to kind of like shut like Jaws when it cuts. The downside to this is actually, well, I kind of like the size, but I'm a little worried that it's going to catch both of them. Which, you know what? If it catches both of them, that actually makes things a little bit easier for me. I was going to have it swing across the top, cut those, and then swing across the bottom and cut those. But maybe that would be kind of pointless because the ropes probably wouldn't really do much in that situation until the bottom ones were cut. So I think we're going to cut both of the ropes on each side at once. So we're going to cut the top and bottom rope on the left side, and then we're going to cut the top and bottom rope on the right side. The idea is that we're basically going to make a pincer movement, so the scissors are going to come together and then swap. So it's going to say sores on top and then sizz on bottom, and then they're going to cut again and be in the right position. And then, of course, those scissors will move around. We will see them sort of swing around here. We'll see them cut scissors again, and then it'll move back into the wizard. It'll explode, and then he will explode. I actually don't know what I'm going to do for his exit yet. I could have him explode off into the sky again, or it might be more fun to have him drill into the ground. I might. Well, no, he's too far away for that. That wouldn't give you a good view of him. So we're going to need... We'll think of something. At any rate, so that looks like it actually doesn't look too bad. I think you can read that fairly well. I'm going to actually save and play. I'm not going to activate the cutscene, but I want to see what these guys look like when I'm far away, when I'm over in the stack. Make sure that I can clearly read them. I might have to add a little bit of separation there between the top and the bottom. All right. Ah. Yeah. Although it is a little hard to read it as scissors. It kind of looks more like cis and sores. I mean, that's what it is, but I don't really know how to make it more apparent. I had originally considered adding handles to the end to make it look more like, you know, an actual pair of scissors, but I feel like that just makes it not unbelievable, because it's obviously meant to be over the top. I mean, the wizard shows up by falling from the sky. But I feel like doing it that way makes it a little bit harder to do anything with the scissors, because then I'm constrained by handles. And I have to make loops with them, and they have to say handle, and then I can't just have it say scissors. I also considered having it not be jaw-like. I considered having it be more like guillotine style, where basically like scissors or sizz comes in from one side and sores comes in from the other, and they basically like slam together to make scissors. Which could be the case. No, that would be kind of weird. Or actually, no, that wouldn't work either. Maybe a bit more of an offset from where the hinge would be. Yeah, that. So I think actually what it should look like is like this. So probably we would want to have this have an offset of, I don't know, negative 0.5, something like that. And then the idea is when we animate, we would kind of slide them and swap them so that you can always clearly read scissors. Although actually having it like that does make it look much better. So some of my doubts might have just been because the S's were together. Uh, so thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, let's just see what it looks like in motion real quick. So we are going to want to. Let me think. Let me think. How do I want to do this? Yeah, okay. So I've learned that if I want to do animation on an object, I need to make sure I have an empty parent for it. So this is actually going to be our scissors parent. This is an empty object that is purely exists to basically be a parent to the scissors object here. That way the scissors object can do stuff like vibrating if we decide to do it, and then the parent can actually just have the relevant positioning that it needs. All right, let's go ahead and subtract. Was it -0.5? Uh-oh. Why didn't you actually... Oh, that was rotation. -0.5. There we go. Or actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and make that -0.25, and then we'll make cis +0.25. That way they're shared a little bit. Okay. That's pretty good. Do I want to animate these guys? Nah, we'll just do it in timeline. Alright. Bridge collapse. Oh my goodness, this is going to get crazy. Actually, you know what? We're going to nuke this and start over. Joop. Joop. Because we don't really need to do anything with this, so. Doot, 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 and doot. Alright. So we're going to make a track group for... the wizard doesn't actually do much here. So instead we'll have just scissors. All right. So the real question is, how do we want to show the scissors showing up? I think it would actually be really cool if the wizard cast a spell that made the word scissors, and then they just kind of like slid together to make the jaws that you see here. So they would like slide in over each other, and then you would just see them quickly open, and we get like a nice sound effect that's like, you know, get that really dramatic, stereotypical metal twang sound. All right, I like that. I like where this is going. We're gonna have a subgroup for audio, which we will eventually need. We'll go ahead and add a play soundtrack to that, even though we won't do anything with it yet. We will go ahead and also load this splash fade scene, even though we don't need it yet, but I will need it for stuff like audio. Oh, that's going to be so much fun, actually, doing the scissor formation. I think we're going to have it... Let's have it scale up from nothing, and it'll just be the word scissors, and then we'll have them slide on top of each other, and then we'll have them open. That'll be cool. Should we even have it do like a little snip snip animation before it does anything? That would be good too. The only downside is that I would ideally want it to form above the wizard, but I can't really do that, I guess. Well, you know what, let's go ahead and add a track group for the wizard here, just so I can see him. Wizard, add an activation track. Bridge. Wizard appears. Player positioned, I guess. And I missed it. Add that. We will have it be active by default so we can see him. All right. So let's go ahead and move this down so we can see a little bit more of this. And also get rid of you. Aha. So let's go ahead and we'll memorize these values. I don't think it's that hard to remember. 0.25, we'll have 0, and then we're going to go ahead and do 0 and 0 rotation. Let's go ahead and have a 1 offset. I think we're actually going to need negative 1.5 and then 1.5. Actually, it might be 2. Ooh, it's definitely 2. Ooh, so close. It's actually probably 2.5. Yep, there we go, 2.5. There we go. So we get the word scissors, and then we'll have it be spelled out straight like this. But once it's spelled out, we'll actually have it, slide in and then make its distinctive shape. Although, actually, before we do anything, do I have a... I have a scissor... I have one scissor sound effect. Please be good. I can make that work. I can make that work. We might have to find some like better sounds. Ooh. Dang it. If it didn't have the gore sound. Like you can hear a little squish there. That's really disappointing. Like everything else about that was perfect. All right, well, we're going to have some gore sound for now. That's going to be a thing. Let's go ahead and add these to our current that's our gore blade. No, we don't need the whooshes. You are worthless, whooshes. Where are you? There we are. Let's lock you. So we want the gore blade chop. Yes, we do. Oh, actually, you know what? Do we have chop sounds? Wow, that is definitely not it. That's chopper, isn't it? Yeah, it's chopper. Of course it is. All right. Let's go ahead and do that. And we're also going to have scissors cut. Okay. Get rid of the fade-ins. Oh, right. Right, so I'm going to get rid of the other fade-ins that I don't really need. I might keep that one because it's cool. All right, so this is going to be scissors air. And then this is going to be scissors cut. Incidentally, it's going to be super weird when we hear that gore sound, I think. But it'll work. We're also going to do 0.9 to 1.1 for our random pitches. Same thing here, 0.9 to 1.1. We might end up making those a little bit more varied, but I think that's usually a good range. No looping, everything else is fine. Cool. Let's go ahead and save that real quick. Close you. So we have our sound effects now. Let's go ahead and get rid of you. Get rid of you. Okay, collapse everything. Scissor, wrong thing. Bridge collapse. Okay, so we're going to activate our wizard. And actually, you know what? Real quick, I am going to go ahead and have the wizard move in the while the player is being positioned. I'm going to have the wizard move his position as well, because he's a little far away. I would prefer to have him be like right up against the bridge here. So let's go ahead and add. Wow, that did not do what I wanted. Okay, player position. There we go. I'm gonna add nothing, because it's a playable track and I forgot about that. Let's see. Just move transform clip. All right, so we're going to move the wizard to, let's go ahead and say wizard target. All right, let's go ahead and move this up and over and forward. All right, so I think we're going to want to have the wizard be right about there, probably. Yes, right about there. All right, let's go ahead and go back here. I'm going to go to the wizard target. I could do that in local space. I think I can actually do that anyway, so might as well. Boop. All right. So while the player is being shoved, we're gonna have. Actually, you know what? Let's have that motion take about 2 seconds. Yeah, there we go. So he'll basically shove the player off. He'll move into position. What is going on here? Oh, right. I keep forgetting about this stuff. I really should fix that. We don't need the text container stuff anymore. All right. Get rid of you. Player positioned. Why are you not moving? Oh, because... is there really a reason for me not to do that while it's playing? Not really? Hold on. I might change this behavior real quick. I think we're going to change this. Oh. Right. Yeah, that's kind of annoying now, isn't it? That should be fine. We'll see what this does. I just want to see if I can actually scrub this stuff in the editor. I would like to be able to do that, but most of the stuff I do for cutscenes I can't really do scrubbing with. Otherwise it will break things, but hopefully I can do that with this. That would be nice. All right. So let's go ahead and... Oh, yeah. Oh, no. That did not do it. Crap. Yep. And that's what I was talking about. Dang it. Dang it. -9. Wait, sorry, 16. Grumble. Alright. I guess that means I'm going to do freaking this. Private vector 3 cached position is equal to vector 3.0. We'll go ahead and say override on graph start. If not, hold on. If not application.isPlaying, then we're actually going to do stuff, and that's going to be cached position is equal to target.position. All right. Then we're going to go ahead and do an override on graph stop. Same exact thing, but in reverse. So target.position is equal to cached position. All right, that should do it. That's kind of frustrating, though. I don't even know if that will do what I wanted, actually. Live. Heck, this internet. Yeah, I was wondering about that because my viewer count dropped. Although I still never know if Twitch's viewer count is accurate or not. I'm pretty sure it counts me, which I guess makes sense because I do keep it open in a tab. But it seems weird. All right. So let's see if that actually fixes the problem. So I still can't scrub backwards, I don't think, but will stopping it work? Yes. So I can at least have it reset its position, but it won't scrub, which is annoying. Can I scrub if I go backwards? I can, just not if I've left the clip. So I can do that. can't scrub forward and then back. Dang it! That's annoying. I guess that means that I need to change... Okay, hold on. So I guess this really shouldn't... Let me think. Yeah, right. So this really should be something like this. So on graph start, we're going to get our positions and cache them. And then on graph stop, we will reset everything. So this should allow me to scrub, I think. So hooray, I suppose. Learning how to set your scripts up to actually scrub without destroying positioning or other data in timeline. That's pretty good. Is your internet just not a great provider? Oh, depending on where you are, yeah, that could be the case. Actually, I just assume that all ISPs everywhere on the planet are terrible. I have no proof to back that up, but I assume that is the case. Also, yes, look at that. We can now scrub. So, and we can go forward and back as needed. Cool. Isn't that nice? Alright, so we got that. That's where that needs to go. Let's go ahead and stop. So that lets us move. We can go ahead and just call this movement. So that's all we needed to do for the Canyon player position cutscene. Let's go ahead and jump over to the bridge collapse cutscene again. Okay. Now for this, we are going to need to cast a spell, which means particle effects. And from that spell, we're going to need to have the word scissors appear. And then we have to animate it. And oh boy, that animation is going to be interesting. Let me think. So, I would like to have the word scissors be animated. I'm picturing particles that say magic, of course, above the wizard. They would start in a sphere, kind of, and then they would sort of stretch out horizontally, so they would cover the areas that scissors would be spelling. And then they'll just vanish, and the word scissors will be there. Then, of course, you'll see it slide into position, and then I think that's what we're going to do. It's awful. They force us to use their crappy proprietary router, which we have to pay for. Yeah, that's how ISPs work. And turns out they don't work in cold weather. Well, that's... Huh. Yeah, that does seem like a design flaw. Well, it's... I guess it's not good to hear, but it's also not nice to hear, but hearing that that our neighbors to the north also have terrible Canadian ISPs. Well, I guess I don't have Canadian ISPs, but I also have terrible American ISPs that also force you to use their own modem and all that stuff. And then they make you rent it, which is dumb, because it's just, I don't know. But what are you going to do? Start your own ISP? Yeah, that would not be worth the effort. Well, actually, I'm sure one day it will be, given the state of things right now. Politics. I don't like to talk that, I guess, on the stream. Okay. So yeah, I think we're gonna try that. So we're gonna need to get some particle effects all up in here. This, we're gonna call these particles. All right, so let's go ahead and create effects particle system. Let's go ahead and move it up, move it out, move it over. Oh, and we need to rotate it by 90 degrees. I'm sorry, negative 90 degrees. Because Z is up for particle effects for some reason. I guess that's not entirely true, but they always seem to be rotated like that. Okay, so we're going to want to have it be somewhere right about here, I think. It was like 925. There. That's going to be pretty much above where the wizard is going to be. Cool. Let's go over here to our renderer. We're going to go ahead and grab our magic particle. That's what we want. I think we want you. Wow, it is really trippy seeing these like magic materials. Seems like Substance is just going crazy. Probably because Unity has stopped supporting it. Alright, so there's our magic. We don't want it to... Well, I guess first things first, we're going to be a random between two colors. As well as its shape, which is actually going to be spherical. We'll have a radius of 2. Yeah, 2's probably fine. Okay, then it's going to get kind of weird because we're going to switch at some point to a box, I think. Can I just do it as a box? Emit from the shell. This is not going to be easy. Spherized direction. What does that mean? It means that, apparently. Can I do negative? I can't do negatives. I can do 1. I can do 12. Can I do 0.5? Like, what is that? Oh, okay, I get it. So it seems to be a value from 0 to 1, and a value of 0.5 will basically let it shoot stuff up, or shoot stuff off from like a hemisphere, whereas a full value of 1 will let it shoot particles off in pretty much any spherical direction from the cube. And yet it's doing the opposite of what I want, which is I want them to actually sink inwards. So that probably means our start speed should be like -5. Yeah, there we go. That's actually pretty good. I mean, we don't want it to be -5. We want it to be something probably more like -1. With a start lifetime of 2. I think that'll be good. Yeah, it's decent. Let's see, color over lifetime. Turn that on so we can get some gradients. Be at 90. Have the final one fade all the way out. Have the starting one fade all the way out, and set you to be 10. Cool. So now we get those nice fade in, fade outs. Not quite as harsh. That's all we needed from color over lifetime. Start color, we'll do red, and then one of the potential random colors will be pinkish. Ooh, not like that. Ooh, not like that either. It's like that. It's kind of weird. I think I actually made it blue in the castle, so I think we're going to do that. Because that basically gives us red, blue, and purple for free. Send help and or tropical weather. Well, if it makes you feel any better, it's like 40 degrees here in the northern states, which is super friggin' weird. Since it's December, it really should be at least freezing by now, but no. My days of having snow are over. It will never again snow where I live, which is a shame. Although I will say, I went up to Canada about a month ago, and I was so excited driving back. We hit some snow, and I was like, ah, yeah, snow! I haven't seen this in like 5 years. Well, freezing is freezing regardless of Fahrenheit and Celsius. But yeah, we use Fahrenheit in the U.S., which sucks because like everyone else uses Celsius. So you know, it's really really awkward. But that would be 32 degrees Fahrenheit is freezing weather down here. Which I know 0 degrees Celsius is freezing up there, but you know. Okay, so we want this to. I think speed is still too much. Can we do start speed of like negative? I'm sorry, -0.5? That's a little bit better. Let's change our shape. Give us a scale of 2. Yeah, that looks better. We'll also give us a Y of 35, I think. Okay. So we're going to want to basically, I think... this is going to be weird. So ideally, I would actually animate this. Can I do that? I know I can drive this stuff through animation, but driving it through script sucks. But I might be able to do it through timeline animation. Okay, that would be cool. This is going to get weird. All kinds of weird. All right. So what else do we want to do in here real quick? We have start and stop time, duration of... It's going to be way longer than 5 we're looking at. It's not going to be looping, actually. Oh, okay, it'll be looping for now. But in actuality, it's not going to be a loop, and it's going to be animated. This is going to be weird. Start lifetime of 2, that's still good. Gravity modifier, we don't care about that. It's all magic. Shell emission. Rate over time of 10. We actually need it to be more than that. Well, maybe not. All right. So I'm going to try to animate a particle system's values because I think it's possible to do that. And in fact, it's probably easier to do that than it is to try and manually lerp that crap. So let's go ahead and say, let's go ahead and do a subgroup. So there's going to be scissors spell. We're going to add an animation track, which means we're going to probably get particles. Here we are. So I'm going to need an animator attached to this guy. Miscellaneous animator. Okay, let's go up here to bridge collapse. And we're going to go ahead and drag in... Oh, I should rename this to scissors formation. This is going to be the most ridiculously over-the-top cutscene I think I've done for Text Quest so far. Freaking giant scissors and wizards falling from the sky. Love it! Love it! Alright. Let's see. Wait, where are you? Bridge collapse. There we are. We're going to drag this. Oh, okay. Play nice. There we go. Now, here's where it gets weird. Okay, so I want it to be... Will you detect emission stuff? Yes, it will! There we go. So I've known that you can drive animations, drive particle systems through animations. I've known that was a possibility in the past. I've not really done it, and mostly it's because I've tried to do it through script, but it is incredibly locked down. The stuff you can do in script, which is annoying because you can actually animate everything fairly easily. It's just that I would prefer to do things through script because that lets me do things without having to do all the animations manually. I can just drive them via values, but fine, whatever. All right, so it's going to be this scale for, we'll say 2 seconds, I think. And of course, we can adjust this stuff very easily. So about 2 seconds. We'll have it be scaled up again. Set it back to 2. All right. And then from there, 2 more seconds, we're going to scale outwards to, I'm guessing, 6? No, way more than that. 10 at least. Well, let's go ahead and stop. Let's stop recording for now. And I'm going to position our scissors. Oh dear, why are you like that? Oh, right. Frack. That, really? Huh. All right, fair enough. So this is going to be actually like -4. Oh, geez. -4.5. -4.5. Okay. Which means this is actually going to be closer to 0. Okay. So this is actually going to be friggin' -5. Isn't it? -5. Yep. And even that's kind of close, actually. But we'll let that one pass. All right. So there's our parent. So we're going to move you to, what was it? 9.25. And, oh, what are you? There we are. Let's just copy you. Well, I can't copy you. -9 and 35. All right. -9 and 35. All right. So now let's go ahead and go over here to player positioned. Oh, sorry, wrong thing. Bridge collapse. There we are. And I suppose that means that I need to record this and then select my particle system so I can see everything actually. Pretty good. I might actually want it to be 11 or 12. Let's go ahead and do 12 for safety. Ah, crud. That's not what I meant to do, but I will have to do that anyway, so that actually worked out. I meant to manipulate this guy. 12. Yeah, that's better. All right, so let's go ahead, have you be 10. All right, so it's going to start out at 10, but by the time it gets to like this size, we're probably going to need way more than that. Let's go ahead and quintuple that. Nope, we need more than that. 100. There we go. And even that, actually, we still get some gaps. Not... Uh-oh. Okay, hold on. Before I forget, let's go ahead and stop playing. We're going to need to fudge this stuff, so we want this to always... Oh, I'm sorry. -1? We want it to always draw on top, which it doesn't look like it is. Sorting fudge. Shouldn't that be +1? Really? I mean... Hold on. There should be a freaking sorting layer. Ah, there it is. Sorry. Ordering layer should be 1. There we go. We wanted to make sure that it's always over the word scissors. Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be cool. Okay. So let's go ahead and go to bridge collapse. We're gonna record this, and we need to, of course, have this be simulating so that we can see what it looks like when we scrub. So as we expand. Yes. Okay. So that actually looks pretty good, and it seems to be fairly consistent. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and stop recording there. That seems to be pretty good for our actual values. I don't think we really need much more beyond that. I mean, I could get crazy with like randomization and all that, but I think for now that's a decent way to go. Next, we're going to need the actual scaling for the scissors. So let's see here. It takes us 4 seconds for the scissors to reach their full size. Let's go ahead and have an animation track on you. We will go ahead and, of course, animate our parent. So we're going to say miscellaneous animator. Go up here to bridge collapse. We'll drag in scissors parent. All right. So by default, we are going to be here. So we're going to be at this point. Additionally, we are going to be... We're going to go ahead and do the rotation as well. And scale is actually going to be 0. All right. So it's going to start out at 0. It's going to stay at 0 until we get to there. At which point we will slowly start scaling it up to be 1. So it should kind of look like, this is going to be weird. Can I, hold on. Gotta make sure that this isn't too weird. I'm going to start recording you. Can I select the particle system? Okay, good. Whew. So we're going to start here, and then... Alright, that's good. As long as it stayed within it while it expanded, then I was going to be fine. I guess we'll go ahead and stop, and let's try playing this. Not crazy about that. I think I need to actually have the magic kind of let out even more intense emission as it's expanding. So actually, let's go ahead and adjust this real quick. So I think I would actually want you to do something like that, basically. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's go ahead and have this loop too. Okay, scale up. It still feels like, I don't know. I want it to hide the word scissors for as long as possible, but I still feel like it's just not quite enough. All right. So I guess let's go ahead and stop playing. Oh crap. Oh no, that was fine. Let's go ahead and edit this key. We'll change this value to 150. Let's go ahead and focus on this. Let's take a look at this again. Let's play. Scaling up. Not bad. It's just really apparent. All right, I think we'll let that go. That's not a terrible hill for me to die on right now. Well, that's not an important hill for me to die on right now. Okay, so that's the scissors spell. And then, right. Let's see, how long do you last? So that's about 4 seconds. So actually, a duration of 5 is not incorrect. We are going to need to grab this. We are going to need to actually start the particle system for that. So we're going to need to have a play particle system track. We are going to add a play particle system. Drag you in here. It does last about that long, which is what we were expecting. We don't need to use manual duration. We don't need to control child systems. We don't care about that. Okay, so this is going to be our formation, and then we're going to have one that's the reveal, too. So let's go ahead and add another play particle system track. Reveal. And the reveal is basically just going to be like an explosion particles that just kind of blasts all the magic away so that you can clearly see scissors. All right, so let's go ahead and right about there. So we're going to need another particle system, which I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate scissors formation because it has some of the stuff I need anyway. So we're going to go ahead and reverse our start speed to be 1. Oh, right. Our shape needs to change as well. So it's going to be at 12. Stop this. There we go. Okay, it must have been using the other one too. So this is going to be scissors reveal. And actual emission, I think we determined 150 was about right. Let's go ahead and lengthen our start lifetime by about 3. Our duration is going to be 3. This is going to go for literally just like one burst, basically. Actually, you know what? This is going to be 0 rate over time. We're going to have a single burst of 150. Oop. double that. Okay, 300. Stop. This one will not loop, by the way. Let's go ahead and play. That's actually, that's a super interesting thing. Like, it seems to spread out more in the middle, so it gives it like a kind of like an eye shape. Huh. All right. I can dig it. Oh, it's like super dense on the edges. We don't really need that. Let's go ahead and play that. Okay. Let's just see what it looks like when they're played together. So let's see. Scissors reveal. Again, no controlling child systems. Okay. I think we're actually at a good position. Let's go ahead and set these guys down. Save this out. Let's go ahead and unload the scene. See what happens. So we should have the wizards. We should have up to the scissors creation. So we should be able to see the wizard create scissors, and they won't be recognized as scissors yet. They'll obviously say scissors, but they won't, take their shape yet. Oh crap! Why are you still active? I must have activated you by laziness. Zoop. Okay, try that again. I'm pretty excited to see how this looks. I'm really hoping that I can get to the actual... I don't think we're going to get to the cutting tonight, but we... What the frig happened here? Why... Oh no. Hold on. Oh no. Right. I think I know what happened there. Parent player clip. Parent on end. Here we are. We're not going to do local space. Instead. Wait. No, that... What the frig is going on here? Let me try that again. I don't know what happened there. That was kind of weird. I got teleported backwards. What the frick is happening? Okay, wizard appears. Timeline. Magic box. Position magic box. We position to the player. Then we move to the magic point, which is there. And we should move from the magic box's position, which would be at the player's position. So why is it suddenly vanishing like that? Wait, hold on. Oh, crud. That's why. Okay, so I need... Wait, no. Ah! Great. Let me think. Yeah, crap. Yeah. So that's why I didn't have it set those values on graph start. All right. How about if I do this? Override on behavior play. Get rid of this, and then we'll go ahead and say, if not, application dot is playing and target. So we'll go ahead and move this back over here. There we go. I think that makes sense. So basically, all we'll be doing is we'll set those positions if we're not playing, which means that if we're scrubbing in the editor on graph start. Otherwise, we'll only set them on play. That should give us a little bit more flexibility. Yeah, that was kind of weird. Welcome to Timeline, where everything is screwy because you have to keep track of like 10,000 different calls. Okay. Hopefully that fixes it. If it does, then that means we do need to be careful, and we just have to really pay attention to whether or not the application is playing. I really wish Unity handled that for us, because it's a lot of just extra tedious code that you have to do to manage yourself. It's not hard. Yep, there we go. It's not hard, it's just tedious. All right. Disappointment. It didn't. Oh! Of course it wouldn't, because I didn't tell it to start. My fault. I didn't tell the master to start playing that cutscene. It's my fault. Just like everything in the world. Alright, let's see. Bridge collapse. There we go. Cool. So let's try that again. Yeah, this bridge cutscene has taken me about 2 weeks, I think, so far. And it's just because I've been doing a lot of stuff like this, like putting in the effort to get freaking good animation. And even now, it's still not quite to the level that I want it to be. Like, that's not nearly as dramatic as I would like. Okay, we definitely need sound effects, but for now... And yeah, we just got giant scissors. Okay. Okay, so we have the giant scissors showing up. That's pretty cool. Oh, and actually, you know what? Before I forget, bridge collapse. We need to go to the timeline again. I need this scissors formation to not loop. Okay, so let's go back to bridge collapse. That should set that, because I think they were still playing at the end there. Okay, so after the scissors reveal, we should be able to actually position them. Yeah, but you're building systems as they're demanded, so things should speed up, right? No, it's definitely true. And if you've seen basically my workflow from when I first started doing the timeline stuff to where I am now, like playing audio clips is now 5 seconds of setup. Whereas before, I mean, when I first started doing it, obviously I had to code the stuff, and that took me like 30 minutes to an hour. So now it's much faster. And as time goes on, you're right, I will be adding to my tool set to allow me to continuously get faster and faster until basically cutscenes will hopefully take me probably about half to a quarter as long as when I first started doing cutscene work in timeline. But there isn't really a good way to get around the manual keyframing that I have to do for a lot of this, especially because I'm really trying to do expressive animation, which is super hard to do with characters that are made out of text. And you can see when the wizard's looking around in the cutscene, even that is not quite to the level that I want to get. I actually need to have, when he looks up, I want him to have like a shocked movement, and that means that I need his body to basically kind of like convey surprise when he looks up, and that's going to require some like squash and stretch kind of to get things to actually feel like they're animating a little bit more. It's just a weird process to get everything to look right, but we're on the right track. It just takes a while to get everything to move and be positioned and smoothly animate the way I want it to. In any case, so now we're going to have the scissors actually animate into position. So we're going to go ahead and add, let's see, scissors parent. So both of these things will have animators because these are the points that we're actually going to animate. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that they. Ooh, wait, no, that's right. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back here to bridge collapse. We're going to add some more animation tracks. I guess we'll also go ahead and add a subgroup for this. We'll call this animation because I'm not original. Oh, by the way, Clearel, how's your editor scripting stuff been going? I know you said you'd been doing that recently, although that could have just been for a short while. I wasn't sure if you'd kept up with that or not. But it's always interesting to see what people do when they're trying to dig into the Unity editor stuff, because that stuff is, to say poorly documented would be nice. Alright, so we want these to be our sis and our sors. Okay. So by default, we're going to want, let's see, right about here, so about 240. We're going to want to record these guys. So we're looking at -5, rotation of 0. We're not going to do scaling because we'll just scale their parent. So that's good. Same thing with this. So 0, 0. Okay, so we have position and rotation there. All right. So after the particles show up and everything else disperses, we will keep the scissors in this position, I think, for an extra second. So let's go ahead and keyframe them again. I really wish I had, like, is there a shortcut? Because that would be cool. I wish I could just, like, keyframe. Nope, I can't do that. Boo. I wish I had just, like, a hotkey that I could press to keyframe values of things that I have selected, but I guess not. So -4, which is actually going to be -5 again, and then same thing with the rotation. I want to keyframe that stuff. Same thing here. Zoop. All right. After that, we're going to take, I think, we're going to say half a second to slide into position. Nah, this is dramatic. We'll make it 1 second. It's going to be a little mechanical right now because we're spacing everything out by a second, but we'll eventually drag keyframes around to make them feel a little bit more organic. All right. So for this to work, we're going to want to move this up. It was like 0.25 and -0.25 for positioning. Meanwhile, you move to -0.25. And that's not accurate anymore, apparently. Disappointing. And X is going to... Wait, what? That doesn't seem right. That really doesn't seem too right. So we're going to... Yeah, okay. I think I know what I was doing wrong. 0, 0, and it was 0.5 and 0.5, wasn't it? -0.5, and then +0.5. Wow, that was just regular old 5.5. There we go. So we basically get this. Okay, not quite. I don't like having Sis do all the movement. So let's go ahead and move this back to 360. You are going to be -0.25, -2.5, as will you. think that's a little bit more fair because now they both move. So now we get. Okay, so we're getting really close to our first like sing sound effect, which is going to be just. Oh, I don't have that sound. Dang it! Of the two sounds that I have, I don't have that one. Ah. Okay. Okay. We'll animate this, and then we will have a quick search through our sound effects to see if we can get something from that. I really hope that I can. All right. So we're going to have it hold in this position for about another second, I guess. Which will take us over to 420. All right. So from there, we're just going to go ahead and, well, actually, yeah, no, this is fine. So you have 4.5. Rotation also needs to be set here. It didn't before, actually, which is stupid of me. 5, 1, 0, 5, not 6. Okay. So we're gonna scale up, form, hold for 1 second, and then comes the big shing. Okay. So from here, we're gonna have a sizz rotation of negative. Oh, dang it! I always get these backwards. 30. And a source of negative 30. Ah, there we go. That would be what I needed to do. Okay. So this is actually going to have a 0.25, as will you. Okay. So that's where the 0.25 comes in. Otherwise, it's 0.5. Yeah, so we have slight movement there. Oh, I want to get audio with this. Oh, it's going to be so cool. It's going to be so cool. So cool. So cool. Okay. We're going to do a play sound clip. And that's going to be right at 420. Okay. So I need like a metal scrape. Can I get like a metallic? Ooh, that's pretty good. I mean, it's really quiet. It's not ideal, obviously, but okay, it's asphalt. I don't care about you. I wish it was just more dramatic than that. But that's not actually that bad. So, yeah. I did always find it funny that you guys had Bell as one of your companies up there. And I have no reason for thinking this, but I always assumed that the Bell company up in Canada spun off of the Bell company down in America. Because, back in the early 1900s, we had the whole Bell company that became eventually stuff like AT&T and a bunch of other giant corporations, because Bell had a monopoly and it had to divest and split off. And I assumed that it's some of its services, which, like Bell Labs and all that, I assumed that some of it still exists, and I figured some of it migrated north, but I don't know if that's the case. But either way, I always found that funny. It's going good. I've got a rough first pass done. It's not great to use, but I can build assets with it. So switch up content creation more to content creation more plus polish. Okay. That's still pretty cool. I mean, usability is always like a secondary factor for editor tools, especially if they're just for you. Usability almost always only comes in if you have someone else who's going to use it. In any case, I gotta assign this disappointing, but it's the best we have right now sound effect. I think it's this one. Right. Yep. Okay. It's so quiet and soft. I wanted something more like shing, like really advanced, or not really advanced, really heavy. I might have to take some of this stuff into like After Effects. So we'll call this scissors opening, or I called them srizzers. Okay, I was gonna say I didn't spell that right. All right, time to test. So crap, I gotta load this scene. Okay, so I think we can get to, at the very least, the scissors actually animating opening and having a sound effect go shing. Ah, that's so exciting. As far as ISPs go, I had Tech Savvy. I kept reading that as Tesfagi, and I was like, that doesn't make sense. Ugh. Yeah, I have a thing called Spectrum, which before was Bright House, and they're not. I mean, they're not sterling or anything like that, but it's certainly been more pleasant than Comcast. Just because anything is better than Comcast. Getting gouged in the eyes by a Comcast employee is better than dealing with Comcast. Okay, so let's see what this looks like. I really want this to be cool. It probably won't be, but I want it to be. Okay. Should I make it 2D actually? No. Not really. But I could. Let's go ahead and make it 2D just for fun. Scissors air. We'll do scissors opening. Spatial blend of 0. Okay. So we should be able to play up to the point where the scissors open, and hopefully it will be as cool as I want it to be. It probably won't be, but I really, really hope that it is. Alright, let's test it. What the frig? Again? Well, that's one way to put a damper on things. What the frig are you doing? I don't... What the Hold on. Why did it keep reparenting me like that? There. Weird. Okay. I need sound effects for the magic too, obviously. Okay. Ah, dang it. Ah, so close, except it was slightly ruined by the fact that the particles hadn't dispersed yet. Ah, so close. Okay, this time we're going to get it. Let's see. Let's bridge collapse. Okay, so we need to wait a little bit before, basically for the particles to clear out. Okay, that makes sense. I definitely did that way too soon. So I'm going to want to basically do this. Let's position this all the way out. Wow, we're gonna actually have this be pretty far off. About there. Oh, right. That makes sense. But yeah, okay. Collapse you. Okay. Okay, so that's that. Okay, wait, hold on. Oh, I guess I probably want to move. Yeah, that's fair. All right, so I worked that up. Give me a second here. I'm going to set these to 420. Oh dear. Okay, no, that was right. Oh no, I did that wrong. I set their value to that. Their time was supposed to be 420. Okay, that's much better. Okay, rotation and all that. All right, same thing here. Keys 420 of value. All right. I think this will be better. Yes. Okay, let's give this a shot to see what it looks like. And we want this to be here. Okay. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. All right. And test. And we're also going to find out if I freak out with the box positioning again. I really hope that's not the case. Okay. That's so weird that sometimes it breaks and sometimes it doesn't. It makes me very nervous. Okay, and there's the scissors. There's the dispersal. There's the formation. Yes! Okay, that's pretty good. It's got a little bit of work that it needs, but that's actually pretty fun. Okay, the next thing after this is going to be figuring out how we want to move it in space, because scissors moving horizontally while they're cutting makes sense, but otherwise it's kind of awkward trying to move this stuff around, actually. So I don't really know what to do about that. I mean, I don't want to move them while they're open either, unless I'm cutting stuff, because it looks kind of dumb. Having the word "scissors" and "sores" moving around just all willy nilly without a chopping motion really doesn't make sense. And the problem is I can't have them. In order to have them move, they have to move to their right for it to make sense, which means that I would have to have them swing over to the right, cut the bridge here, but they would have to rotate to be facing the other way, basically, which means that you couldn't read them really. And then they would have to keep going this way, during which they would, of course, be backwards. So I need them to cut from the left on the first bridge, and they need to cut from the left when you're facing that way on the on this bridge. Otherwise, you can't read them very easily, and that defeats the purpose. So I need them to move from where they are now, slightly to the left, to about where my reticle is, right about there. And then they need to just come straight across, cut the bridge down. So we get cut, cut, and then they'll move while the bridge is falling. Then they'll basically, while this bridge is falling, the scissors will kind of move over here, and then they'll cut, cut. Then they'll keep moving, and then they'll just kind of like burst into magic and disappear. Followed shortly by the wizard, I guess. Okay. I think I have a battle plan then. But I think we're also going to go out on a high note tonight. So I think that's a good place to stop, because we got everything that we wanted to do. Or rather, we got as far as creating the scissors and actually having them snip. We didn't get quite to the point where we can actually simulate Carante's bridge collapse. Well, we can use Carante to simulate the bridge's collapse. That will be done this week, though, I'm hoping. just because we're in a really good spot now, and all of the art assets are now done. So it's basically all about timeline and keyframing and getting everything actually set up. Um, but yeah, that was a pretty good day. It was mostly animation, so I apologize if things were, if you're not interested in animation, sorry that's what most of today was. But um, it is pretty exciting to see this stuff come together. It's been maddening. It's felt like I've made no progress for the past 2 weeks, but finally seeing everything come together is actually pretty nice. So when we finally get the bridge collapse happening in the timeline cutscene, I am going to just be ecstatic. That is going to be all over Twitter. I will just post that everywhere because it's going to be so cool. Anyway, so that's a pretty good place to stop for the night. Announcements. We should be back for our regular time on Thursday. I think I'm going to stream on Saturday. I'm pretty sure that I am because it's just Saturday. It's not Christmas Eve or anything like that. I probably won't be streaming next week. At the very least, not next Tuesday. But besides that, I might stream on Thursday next week. Or we'll see. I'll send out announcements about all that stuff. But in the meantime, that's a pretty good place to stop. So as always, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.